Imagine you are the last living thing in the universe, not metaphorically, literally. Every star has collapsed, every planet has gone cold and dark. Even the atoms around you are beginning to forget what they are. There is no light, no sound, no gravity pulling at your chest. There is nothing and nothing stretching in every direction for trillions of light years. And somewhere out there, tumbling through that absolute void, is a machine the size of a school bus. A machine we built. A machine that has been screaming into the dark for over 46 years. And very soon, it will go silent forever.
It started as a triumph, September 5, 1977. Cape Canaveral is burning gold in the Florida sun. A Titan Centaur rocket tears itself off the launch pad and carries something extraordinary into the sky. Voyager 2, humanity's most ambitious message in a bottle. Scientists are weeping. Engineers are cheering. There are handshakes and photographs and the quiet, disbelieving joy of people who have just done the impossible. The mission was supposed to last 4 years. It was supposed to swing past Jupiter and Saturn and go dark. Job done, memory complete. A beautiful little chapter in the story of human curiosity. But something changed. The probe didn't stop. It kept going, past Uranus, which no other spacecraft had ever seen up close, past Neptune, that blue ghost planet at the edge of the solar system, past the Heliosphere, the protective bubble of solar wind that wraps around everything we've ever called home. Voyager 2 crossed that boundary in 2018 and entered a place that has no name in any human language that feels adequate. Interstellar space. The space between the stars. And it's still out there, right now, this very second, moving at 55,000 kilometers per hour. And it has almost nothing left to say.
Here is the first thing you need to understand, and it should make your skin crawl. Voyager 2 is currently about 20 billion kilometers from Earth. That number sounds large. It isn't large enough. Light itself, the fastest thing in the universe, takes over 18 hours to travel from the probe back to us. When NASA engineers send a command to Voyager 2, they wait 36 hours for a round-trip response. 36 hours to have a conversation with something we built in the 1970s. And here is what's terrifying about that distance. It is nothing. Voyager 2 hasn't even reached the nearest star. At its current speed, it would take roughly 42,000 years to get there. The cosmic neighborhood doesn't even begin for another 4.2 light years, and our probe is crossing that distance at the pace of a geological era. It is alone in a way that should be impossible to comprehend. But here's the problem. It's getting more alone by the hour. Out where Voyager 2 travels, the temperature is close to absolute zero. We're talking about minus 273 degrees Celsius. That is not very cold. That is the physical boundary of cold itself. The point at which molecules stop moving. The point at which energy gives up. If you were placed into that environment without protection, you would not freeze slowly. Your biological processes would stop with a suddenness that the word death barely covers. The moisture in your eyes would crystallize before your brain registered the sensation. You would become a statue, a perfect, horrifying sculpture of the last moment you were alive. Voyager 2's instruments operate on heat generated by the radioactive decay of plutonium-238. Right now, that heat source is producing about 70 watts of power, less than what it takes to run a light bulb in your kitchen, and it's dropping by roughly 4 watts every year. That's not a warning, that's a countdown. And it gets worse. To keep Voyager 2 alive as long as possible, NASA has been making brutal decisions. One by one, they've been turning off the probe's instruments, the plasma science instrument, the cosmic ray subsystem, the ultraviolet spectrometer. Scientists who spent decades building those tools watched them get switched off forever, like watching someone turn off the life support for something they loved. By 2026, the remaining instruments will begin shutting down too, and somewhere around 2025 to 2030, depending on how efficiently the team manages the dwindling power, Voyager 2 will send its last transmission, a faint whisper of radio waves traveling at the speed of light across 20 billion kilometers of absolute nothing, received by a 70-meter dish antenna pointed at the sky like a human ear pressed to an empty room. And then silence. The probe doesn't stop moving when it goes silent. That's what no one talks about. It just becomes unreachable. It becomes a ghost, still out there, still hurtling through the dark at 55,000 kilometers per hour, but invisible to us, gone in every way that matters. But that's not even the worst part. Interstellar space is not empty. That's the illusion we hold on to because the alternative is harder to process. The void between stars is filled with cosmic radiation so intense it would destroy unshielded electronics in hours. It's threaded with magnetic fields from dead stars that collapsed millions of years ago. It holds the remnants of supernova explosions, shockwaves still propagating outward through the galaxy, like ripples from a stone dropped into a pond the size of God. Voyager 2 is flying through all of this, unprotected, alone, with the structural integrity of something built with 1970s technology, technology that was already old when the Berlin Wall fell. The probe's gold-plated aluminum frame is being bombarded by high-energy particles that chip away at its surface atom by atom. The interstellar medium, that thin soup of gas and dust between stars, creates drag so subtle it took decades of observation to even measure. And somewhere ahead, in a direction we can barely calculate, lies the gravitational influence of other star systems. Stars with their own planets, their own debris fields, their own completely unknown physics operating at scales we have never observed up close. Voyager 2 will encounter none of them for thousands of years, and when it does, there will be no one left to receive the data. And this is where things change. Here is what scientists genuinely don't know, and this part should keep you awake. We don't fully understand what Voyager 2 is flying through. The data it has already sent back has broken models. The boundary of our heliosphere, what we thought was a clean, defined edge, turned out to be foamy, turbulent, inconsistent. The magnetic field in interstellar space doesn't behave the way our equations predicted. There are anomalous readings that don't match any known source. Something is out there generating forces we didn't account for. We don't know what. Voyager 2 is our only direct instrument in that environment, our only eye in the dark, and we're about to lose it forever, right at the moment it's starting to see something we don't understand. Think about that. We built a machine, sent it to the edge of everything, and just when it started finding the things we most needed to know, we ran out of time, we ran out of power, we ran out of the 1970s plutonium slowly decaying inside a gold box, tumbling through the coldest place in the known universe. The universe doesn't care about our budget cycles.
There is one more thing aboard Voyager 2 that no one likes to think about too hard. A golden record, a 12-inch gold-plated copper disc containing sounds and images selected to portray the diversity of life and culture on Earth.
Greetings in 55 languages. Music from Bach to Chuck Berry. The sound of rain, a mother's first words to her newborn child. It was designed to be found by someone, by something. The record will outlast the probe's electronics by billions of years, long after the transmitter goes dark, long after the antenna stops pointing home. The record will still be there, spinning silently through the dark, carrying the sound of a species that no longer exists on a planet that no longer orbits. There is something unbearable about that image. We sent our voice into the dark, and we will never know if anyone heard it.
When Voyager 2 goes silent, we won't lose a machine, we'll lose a mirror. For 46 years, that probe has been showing us what we are. A species that looks up at the dark and decides to reach. A species that packs its music and its mathematics and its hope into a golden disk and throws it into a void so vast that the word forever feels small by comparison. But the universe was never designed to receive us. It has no edges built for human hands, no corners carved for human comfort. It is ancient and indifferent and incomprehensibly, beautifully savage in its scale. And Voyager 2 has spent 46 years proving that to us, one data point at a time, one instrument shut down at a time, one 18-hour light-speed whisper at a time. When the last signal fades, the probe will keep moving. It will fly through the dark for millions of years after our sun has swallowed the Earth, after our oceans have evaporated and our mountains have eroded and the last human thought has ever been thought. That small, damaged, dying machine will still be out there, still carrying our music, still carrying our voices, still going into nothing forever.